Many of us woke up to the very strong smell of smoke today and very hazy skies, and that came from two different sources. I think the smell of the smoke came from our local fires, and the smoke aloft came from fires burning across the western part of the country. This evening's forecast is brought to you by Rabathan, Mackay, and Marshall. The image you are looking at is what NASA Worldview's satellite saw earlier today as it passed over the province of Newfoundland and Labrador and Atlantic Canada as a whole. And that is a lot of smoke. All that kind of gray, sooty looking stuff is smoke from the fires burning across Canada and then locally as well. In fact, it looks like on this image here, we can actually pick up the smoke from the Kingston Fire that has drifted all the way almost to the top of St. Mary's Bay, which is kind of interesting to see. That is something that will likely stick with us at least in some capacity over the coming days. What you're looking at there is the smoke in the atmosphere forecast. And we should see the hazy skies getting a little bit less hazy once we get through Sunday. But between now and then, it's going to be very hazy, and occasionally we may smell some of that smoke as well, which again is from the local fires, which I also know are impacting many people across the province, many people in our communities, and my heart certainly goes out to those that are directly impacted by these fires. As we look at the fire locations across the island right now, we've got three fires that are actively being worked on because these are the three that are out of control. The Holyrood Fire, the Kingston Fire, and the Martin Lake Fire. The Kingston Fire is obviously the biggest, and that one is currently the most pressing with respect to resources being tossed at it, and it's also the most active with respect to decreasing air quality in and around it, and that's why the air quality warning remains in effect from Environment and Climate Change Canada for the Avalon North. And then we see the air quality statement for St. John's and vicinity, which includes the southern shore. And air quality will likely fluctuate in these areas near the fire, essentially depending upon the way the wind is blowing, because that kind of moves the low-level smoke around. Now, at last check, and this was as of earlier this afternoon, the Kingston Fire is near 3,000 hectares in size. The Martin Lake Fire and the Holyrood Fires are holding steady, and they're not that much different from the sizes we were seeing yesterday, and I'll take that as a positive. Now, as we take a look at the NASA FIRMS imagery, this is imagery that picks up hot spots via satellite, and this gives me a decent idea of where the perimeter of the fire may be because that data is a bit hard to access, and this might be a little bit stale as it's from yesterday. But what I want to talk about with this image here is not so much the exact perimeter of the fire, but where it's likely going to get pushed over the next couple of days. And it's likely going to get pushed off to the east a little bit, which I suspect is where a lot of the action is going to be. And that's because of the wind and wind direction. So the wind direction for the area around Kingston is going to be, and you can see it here in the forecast, generally from the west overnight. And as we go through the day on Sunday, potentially turning more west-northwest or west-southwest at times. And then as we go through the day Sunday, remaining from the west, which is why I think if we're going to have growth on that fire, it's likely going to be to the east, which probably, there's no probably about it. It's not a good thing. This whole situation is obviously very, very bad. What I can say is if that fire gets pushed far enough east, it will eventually run into the coast and we'll see very little growth on the north, south, and western sides of it. So it may essentially run out of places to burn. But what happens between where it is now and when it gets there, or what the fight looks like of the fire as it's making its way in that direction, is going to be what's hardest to fight and hardest to watch unfold, because I do suspect there are properties in that area and we are far from out of danger with respect to this fire. Now, I wish I could tell you here today that a huge dousing of rain is in the forecast. It is not. With respect to the winds across the rest of the province, generally westerly or southwesterly over the next few days, which will kind of push the Martin Lake fire to the east as well. And there may be a new fire burning near the south coast, west of Burgeo. Satellite has picked up a hotspot there, but I haven't seen any actual hard data that we are dealing with a fire there. I think I might have gotten a Facebook message asking about it, but I don't know for sure if there is a new fire burning on the southwest, well, it'll be the south coast of the island, but I'll watch that closely. Heat warnings, they're in effect now. They'll likely go through potentially the middle of next week for parts of Labrador and eastern and central Newfoundland as an area of high pressure gets established and builds in. This is the classic kind of heat dome setup. As we have a large ridge, under the ridge the air sinks. As air sinks, it warms and compresses, and we are left with unseasonably warm temperatures over the next few days, potentially as much as 10 degrees above normal in some areas. So tonight, clear on the island, minus the hazy skies from the smoke. Tomorrow, hot and hazy and not so much humid. Temperatures in some areas maybe a little less than what we're seeing on the map here due to the smoke overhead. Today, some areas along the northeast coast are in the low 20s because winds are onshore. I think winds swing offshore tomorrow, so going to be a lot warmer. But areas of south and southwestern Newfoundland going to be cooler in the onshore flow. Your 7-day forecast for the Avalon, upper 20s through Thursday. Through Thursday. Next chance of, good chance of rain right now looks to be Friday. So this is beautiful summer weather, but it's not the weather we need right now. We need cooler weather, we need rain, and we're just not going to get it. Central, low 30s through Wednesday. The heat may break by Friday. At that point, we have a 50% chance of showers. 50%. Into Labrador tonight, temperatures dipping into the mid-teens. For the day tomorrow, we're looking at 30s for some areas, 20s for others. We are going to see some rain showers and possible thunder showers in Labrador tomorrow. As you can see there in the afternoon, there is going to be a good chance of afternoon showers and storms working through the Goose Bay area and the coast, but they're going to be short-lived and they're not going to translate down to the island really at all, unfortunately. 7-day forecast for Goose Bay shows the heat breaking looks like potentially by Wednesday or maybe Thursday of next week, but definitely, at least at this point, by Friday. We'll keep our fingers crossed on that one. If I didn't show you your 7-day forecast or your forecast for Sunday, you can simply find that by going to my website, shareweather.ca. You can click on your local forecast, which is in the drop-down menu there on the top of the site, or simply get the app. In the app, you can get the forecast for your area by the hour and by the day, and you'll also get my latest updates as well as I push them out. That's all I have for you right now. Have a very good Friday evening, and I'm sure I'll have updates for you over the weekend.